Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Flip the Script with Vic. It's your host, Victoria Nielsen. I'm always so excited to be here because I get to hype other women up as my job as part of Flip the Script with Vic. But I also get to have really open hearted and deep conversations with some really amazing women that have stories to tell, have things to share. And one of those women today is Parisa Hervani, one of my dear friends, a yoga studio owner, a all around, I want to say like wellness guide, truly, who I feel like has really found herself and transformed over the last year with Shake Rising and some of the other practices that she does. And yeah, I just wanted to bring you on to have like a chat because I feel like whenever we get together, we always somehow go like really deep, but also like really weird at the same time, like talking about like crazy past lives and the energy we feel. And
Mhm.
I don't know, you're just a soul sister and I love it.
Likewise. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here, everyone. It's funny you said like she found herself over the past year. It's like I found a version of me and then I completely broke it and I'm creating a whole nother one. But I love
Yes.
that from the outside it looks like I've been found because wouldn't that be nice?
Right. I mean, I guess it's true. We never are totally found, but I would love to chat more about this kind of new unfolding, this new alchemy, if you're open to it, because I do think you are not shy about allowing yourself to like death and rebirth over and over again. And I remember like the very first time we met, I was coming to the studio to try out to be a Kundalini yoga teacher. And there was a weird instance at the studio where a teacher was there that wasn't supposed to be. And anyway, the energy was weird. And I remember afterward, I liked you, but I was like, I don't know. There's something about her energy. And then we met for lunch like months later, and your energy was totally different. And you're like, oh, yeah, like that version of me is like completely gone now. Like I've just stepped into a whole new version. And I was like, wait, but I can actually feel the difference. What do you mean?
Yeah, I think when we met, um, there was a lot of stress in my life, and I think I had like recently opened the Peachtree Hills location, and
Yes.
there was new teachers and just boundaries and guidelines that hadn't been set yet, and so that was a day that you caught me on learning that lesson. But
I
yeah,
remember we
I
chatted about being projectors for a long time.
love that for us. We're the guides, yo. Yeah, I think since we've met, it's just been like a roller coaster. Like this time last year, I was feeling so fulfilled and like was walking in such purpose. And that's such a beautiful part of our journey, right? But like if we just stay in those places, we don't grow. So there's all these astrological forces, I believe, or like life forces or universal forces pushing us, creating tension, creating stress, and forcing us to grow. Otherwise, we wouldn't. We would just be like, "Oh, this feels good. I'm going to stay here." Um, and so it's beautiful to like witness that feeling of a year ago of like me reaping the rewards of all of the work that I had done, and I guess like living in the harvest of the seeds that have been sown. And now I'm in another sowing phase. And is it sow or sow? I don't know, but I'm in
I
that
think
phase.
it's so, but I love that you're bringing it back to the inner seasons, right? Because everyone is always going through inner seasons, just like there's outer seasons. And if we were always in that summer, we were always in that bloom, we wouldn't appreciate the winter, we wouldn't appreciate the fall, we wouldn't appreciate the spring. And so I don't know, I just love that you brought it back to that so naturally because we're never always going to be in one place. And actually, we're doing ourselves a disservice of thinking that we need to always stay the same. Like change is what we came here for, so let's lean into that, right?
No, 100%. I don't think it is possible to have the summer without the winters, like not just an appreciation way, but I don't think it's sustainable. Um, and it's like this idea that we learned, the happy ending, the Disney movies, like, oh, and they lived happily ever after. And that was it. She reached
And it
this
stopped.
level. And like that, and I'm like, I'm waiting for that. I'm like, when is that gonna happen? But it's not. It's a layering. This human experience is pulling back every layer of conditioning, getting deeper and deeper into an unlearning of and discovering and remembering of who we truly are. And right now, I'm in a really interesting part of that where it was like, a year ago, I felt like really strong, even like as little as like 9 months ago. Like just felt really, really strong. And so much has changed since then. Not that I don't feel strong anymore, but I'm 6 months into a new romantic relationship with someone who's clearly like a soul contract. And so I've been seeing all my wounds in the context of intimacy. And that's where a lot of my wounds were created. So I couldn't feel or heal or address those things without being back in this intimate space. So just that vulnerability and I thought like, oh, I have my life figured out. Like, okay, she's got a studio, she's figured out. Now she has a boyfriend, okay, she's figured out. But it's like the way that I have been conditioned to seek validation externally rather than to go within is so apparent right now. And I'm just like, none of that's actually fulfilling for me. And so I'm having to do like a lot of going inwards and just realizing these like wounds in place of hurt and like holding them and just allowing them to be there and like watching myself like grow by being in it. Like I'm growing by crying. And so it's like I'm feeling happy and I'm feeling in love and all of these great things. But at the same time, I'm feeling like profound hurt that's like years and years old and like having that come up. And it's just been a whirlwind of a month. I'll tell you that much.
But I resonate with that so deeply. I actually posted, I think it was an Instagram reel yesterday that talked about that, that I'm, simultaneously feeling happy, but you're healing, but you're also hurting because all of these things can exist at the same time. And, relationships, we only see that sunny side, right? From Disney of like, oh, they got together. Yay. They don't see that like to make a marriage or make a partnership work, like it's work. It's a constant like give and take and having to look at your wounds. And I do believe that there are soul contracts out there. My husband, I think too, is a soul contract that I made that we were like, we are going to do this together because we're going to grow actually further by testing these wounds in one another. And it's challenging, right? But it all comes back to that same thing for me too of the self worth and of like childhood, really, of like, how was I talked to? How did I talk to myself? Those things were formed back then. And how I react was formed back then. And so like there are some days I still find myself reacting and I'm like, oh wow, okay. Like I see where that came from, but like, all right, 36-year-old Victoria, that's not cute. Not cute to act that way.
I don't know if it's like a collective consciousness, but I'm so in sync with what you're saying. And I don't know if this is going to be helpful for anyone out there, so I'm just going to share it. Um, a lot of the ways in which I live my life are outdated, like nervous system ways. And
I love that.
it's just like I think as soon as I get stress at work or in an intimate relationship where I become vulnerable, I go back to like this fight or flight scanning for danger, right? And that was meant to protect me because I had to be hypervigilant. My needs weren't met. I didn't feel safe in a lot of places as a child. And like I'm not shitting on my parents or anything. They did the best that they could. And like from the outside it may not look like, oh, she didn't have like a hard life. She had four parents. She's lucky. But
It
there was
doesn't
a
have to
lot.
be trauma with the capital T.
Yeah, there was a lot going on, and so I learned to be hyper vigilant, to notice any change in rituals and like routine, to just be constantly on the lookout. And that's why like so much of what I remember from my childhood is negative. And I was on the phone with my best friend since I was 8 years old this week, and she's like, "We had so much fun." And I was like, "Tell me about it." And she's telling me all these times, and she's like, "Do you remember this? Do you remember that?" And I'm like, "No, but I remember this heartbreaking incident and this and that." And so like I was cleaning out an old console and I found an old photo album, and this is what had led me to call her is I found all these pictures from elementary, middle, and high school, and I'm like, she's in a lot of them, and I'm like remembering that I'm like, oh wait, that was fun, that was fun, that was safe, but there was this need for me to be hyper vigilant, and that's the nervous system response, right, that we have just as human beings, that as we evolve to like be on the lookout for danger. And so it's why I remember a lot of the negative and why it's so hard for me to focus on gratitude. And so when I'm triggered in current life, even as a 37-year-old Parisa, I get into a situation where I'm vulnerable again, I'm finding myself falling back into that routine and wondering why I'm not happy because I have so much to be grateful for. And so what's really been working for me this past week, like literally this healing is like days old, um, is the body doesn't know the difference from the mind. So, or like from actuality, like from real or fake. So, if we can first thing in the morning go to our safe space, do some deep breathing, and like when I wake up, before I even walk out of bed or like get out of bed, I sit up straight and I put like a safe space meditation on from my Insight Timer app. But you can just do like a visualization and breath work, like 4-6 breathing, inhale for 4, exhale for 6 for like 3 minutes, and just picture your safe space. And that's gonna like help your body and your nervous system to set for the day, like, hey, I don't need to be in fight or flight. And you can orient by like saying like things that you see and feel, and like that'll just help you reset. And you start the day with that way, and then I go right into my gratitude journaling, and that has been like tremendous because
I love that.
I heard a metaphor, and it was, I think it was Brene Brown, and she was like, I have a lot of yoga clothes. I have a yoga mat. I live in a lifestyle of a yogi. Like a lot of the things I do align in a yogi, like in a yogic tradition. But when I get on my mat, does that matter if I'm not practicing yoga? Like, can I do a handstand or like any of those things? And I was like, wow, as a yoga teacher, that hit me because it's like I can do all the handstand things. No, I'm just kidding. It
No,
was
but you
like,
can. You're really fucking flexible.
but I was like, wow, okay, so how can I apply this to gratitude? Gratitude is a practice. How am
Mhm.
I like, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm aware of what I'm grateful for at any moment, but like I'm aware of how I could list that, but I'm not practicing it. So now in the morning, by like journaling and writing down and feeling those frequencies of gratitude, it's changing my whole day. Like I'm only like 5 days in, but it's
No, but I
working.
love that because it's really true. I mean, that's really what after my miscarriage, I did something kind of similar where I stopped reaching for my phone first thing in the morning and I was like, let me move my body first thing in a very intuitive fashion, whatever way my body wanted to. And then I would free write and just like let everything out. And a lot of the times I'd come back to gratitude. And it's a choice. You have to choose in every moment to be grateful for what you have. But when you do, then that's when that energy amplifies. That's when you're actually attracting more. Because if you're not grateful for what you currently have, the universe is going to be like, bitch, I'm not giving you anything else, like until you are. But I love that you start the day that way because it's a frequency thing. Like you're almost, I call it, a quantum leap in the sense that like you're bringing the feelings and emotions that you want to experience in the future to the present and you're fully embodying them in like every single cell in your being. So how can that not travel throughout your day? How can that not like collapse timelines essentially, and bring you any future happiness now is how I think about it. So I love that you've been doing that. And I think it's a great practice for anyone listening to start your day a little slower. Start your day a little more inward. Like how many of us just jump out of bed in the morning and don't really like stop to think, or maybe we just grab our phone first thing and we don't think at all and we're just scrolling.
Yeah, I've been there. And I think it's just so important to find that, like, to train your neuroplasticity, like, to find that nervous system reset, like, to that part was really hard for me because it's like I can intellectualize all I want, but like my body can't feel it when triggered. And like sometimes the breathing it doesn't work, but when you start your day out by getting out of fight or flight and like you put yourself in a mindset that says like I'm safe to your body, not to your mind, really, in a body set that says that I'm safe, your cup is so much more full and there's so much more stressors and so much more you can handle before you get into that state. And I think that's really the game changer for the quality of your life every single day and your overall happiness.
Absolutely. You're not starting in depletion. I was thinking about that. It was a parenting expert that I was like reading the other day, probably Dr. Becky, but she was saying that like when your kids are having tantrums, she's like, take a deep breath and tell your body it's safe. Tell your body it's not an emergency. Tell your body that like, you're not being chased by a lion. Like it's just your kid screaming. But it sometimes can take a minute in the moment to like actually calm your body down. Like I've had to try to explain to my kids that like the noises they make sometimes, I'm like, that is causing mommy's nervous system to like freak out. And they don't necessarily get it, but like I'm already trying to show them like that I'll stop, I'll move my body, like I'll be in tune with that. And I hope that in getting in tune with it now and like talking about it now, it's something that just becomes like second nature to them because, it took me way too long to start listening to my body. And I know that was the same for you.
Yeah, but I love that you're giving your kids that example. Like, that's awesome. And that's how we change, the generations to come. Side note, I see your tattoo for the first time, and I guess you could say IRL, but through the screen. It looks amazing.
Thank
It's so
you.
cool.
Thank you. I had to put on, I was like, it's so funny. I had a flash of what I was wearing and it was like, oh yeah, it's a shirt so that it could be shown off. Yes, she's in all her glory. I feel like she's always been there. But that's been my journey with my voice, this last year. And I feel like you've had a similar journey in the sense that when you found Shake Rising, it really helped you, I think, come back to your body, right? And feel safe in your body. And I remember you led a Shake Rising class, which I want you to share what that is with folks in a second. But I wanted to share the mantra that you brought us through, because that root chakra mantra was one that I worked with for months afterwards about, like being born for this. That like like I was born for this and I am ready. And it was just such a game changer for me. So tell us, what is Shake Rising and how has it helped you?
Shake Rising is a transformational movement practice that is meant for your liberation. So it's a blend of three modalities of energy work, fitness, and dance. And you're going through the energy body or the chakra systems, as we say in yoga with the mantra for each. And we are saying these mantras not to like brainwash ourselves, but to point out any places in our body and our psyche where they don't feel true. And
Oh,
then
it
we're
gets to be
using,
easy because I was born for this. That's what it was. I was like, I can't remember what it
yes.
is now. It gets to be easy because I was born for this.
That's a beautiful one. I love that because so much of us think that living is equated with like working or hustling or struggling, like, to be productive. And we get to be in ease. That's our birthright. And so that's I love that mantra. But yeah, Shake Rising for me was not only just transformational on like a self-awareness level and to be connected with my body, but what this gave to me was also safety with women, and it brought me together with some amazing women, like-minded, not even like-minded, just like we're all humans. We're just other human women, and it made it so safe. And Sarah, the founder of Shake Rising, does just a beautiful job of holding that space and helping us connect. And it was really transformational for me to be in community with my sisters in Hawaii last year and then again this year in California. And just so many amazing connections have come through this practice. And I mean, I just love Shake. Like, I have a weekly routine where I put it on like I have the Shake Rising subscription, so you can do this at home for like $30 a month. You can get unlimited access to the recordings and then live calls every week. And I put on the Shake Rising call and I shake while I clean. So like even when
Yes.
I don't have time, like I'm vacuuming and shaking and like doing the call with them, and it's so awesome. So
I love that. I mean, really, all of us need to shake our asses more. Like, truly. I have been a booty yoga instructor for years now, and one of their mottos was like, free your hips, free your mind. And it's so true because I feel like we store so much in our hips as women. And we stop dancing, we stop moving in our own fluidity, in our own grace a lot of the time because we're either trying to be too masculine or we're trying to fit into a different box, or we just forget because we've forgotten to play and we've forgotten to move and we've forgotten to connect. But that sacral chakra is where our passion resides, it's where our purpose resides. And we're doing ourselves a disservice if we're not moving our hips, if we're not shaking out the literal shit in our bodies, because our bodies keep the score and our bodies remember. And that primal shaking, that's really what it is. It's you're shaking like an animal essentially, and there's a reason that animals do that. They're moving the energy out of their bodies. They're not holding on to things. And so I've had some things from like the deep recesses, I feel like, come up when I've done like Shake Rising and just like shaking practices in general. And it's surprised me.
yeah, I love that for you. Um, there's like trapped adrenaline and cortisol and stuff in the body from these experiences that the mind can't flush out, right? We have to do it in the body. And so that's a great part about Shake, is that in addition to the mantra and the fitness work, we're also doing that shaking. So we're identifying where those things aren't true, and then we're shaking out any like past resistances or past experiences that are stuck in the body, keeping those mantras from feeling true. And so it's like all of that combined, and then you do a beautiful meditation at the end to bring that Kundalini energy back down, and it's just a wonderful practice.
I know. I was like, I need to come to a class soon. I haven't been in a while, but it was so good. Like it was, I feel
Next
like every time you leave,
Tuesday,
you're like, that's exactly what I didn't know I needed.
next Tuesday, 7:15 at Element Yoga in the evening, I will be teaching a shake rising practice. Come check it out.
Okay, done. Putting that on the calendar. Thanks.
Yeah.
I love it. So in this season of transition, I feel like we talk a lot about like inner child and inner teenager work when we get together. Is that something that you're still focusing on and moving through, or kind of what's on your heart as you move into 2026?
Yeah, I think from 2023 to like now, that integrated family systems, that inner child work, it's not just inner child, it's inner child, inner teenager, your critical parent, and your loving parent. That was like a big thing that I was working on. And it's funny to hear you mention that now because I've kind of forgotten it. Like it's like I know it's there, but I'm like, oh, my loving parent is like she's woke, she's there all the time. She's always consoling me. She gives me a hug. So it's like, yeah, I'm glad to see that that work that I put in um, paid off. I feel like my inner child and I have a really strong relationship. Like I talk to her all the time. Um, and I'm still developing the other like versions of myself, like those connections, even like with myself in my 20s, like I'll hear a song from like from college and like this like thug will come out, like how we used to like listen to rap in our cars,
Yes.
like we
Oh my
were such
God.
badasses, like you're a little girl from East Cobb, sit down. But like I'll feel her come out and I'll be like it feels kind of cringe, but I'm also like, yes, girl, what up?
Yes, no,
I
let
love
the
you.
cringe
I'm
out.
so thankful for like that version of you. And I love that like we're a little thug in it right now. And I'm like, what up, 21-year-old Parisa? And I'm still proud of you, even though I feel a little cringe, but I'm still proud of you. And yeah, just giving love to all those past versions of me, but also like in the moment when that critical parent or that critical voice comes up, being able to match it with a loving parent. And like that took practice,
Oh yeah.
to
Because
like let that voice in.
they say that like it's by age 6 that the voice in your head is the critical parent, what in whatever form that critical parent took. And that it really solidifies from like 6 to 10. And that like if it's not changed in that time frame, that's gonna be like the voice that you hear in your head when you don't do well or when you're criticizing yourself. I don't know, that really struck me because I was like, oh gosh, there's probably things that I say to my kids that I should stop saying.
Wow. Yeah, that's heavy, man. 6 to 10.
That's so young, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things that could have formed that inner voice. And especially again, it's not the fault of our parents. They did the best that they could with what they had, just like, I'm trying to do. But if you were like me, I mean, my mom was a working mom. I was by myself a lot, or, I was at camps or at different things where it's like I was exposed to a lot pretty young, and like I get that not a lot of kids were like that, but it it made for a special experience. So I do think I have a lot of criticism in my head from my mom that it is wild to hear like when I say the exact same things or mannerisms to my kids, like it blows my mind. I'm like, "Oh, cool. I know where that came from."
Oh my gosh,
But
I've
there's
done that
also some
too.
other voices too, right? That are like, "Who what that random 5th grade girl that said this thing, like, fuck you, get out of my head." Like,
Um, yeah, like who do you think you are? Honestly, like I've heard people talk about voices, and I think one of the person said like they had a girl tell them when they were younger, who do you think you are? And that replays in their head. Um, but what's interesting about the critical parent, it's like our child self's interpretation of what a parent would say, but the reason that it exists is to protect us, right? So that
Mhm.
critical parent isn't there to criticize you for no reason and try to make you better. It's trying to protect you from pain. So if it's like saying like, how could you say that? You're so stupid. It's coming from a place of fear and or shame. And so the only way to defeat that is through love. And so you have that loving parent come in, and that's where you fix or like counteract that criticism. And eventually the hope is that that internal voice kind of blends the two together and then becomes more and more loving as you go. So
Yeah. Love is the answer to it all. It really is. If we could just come back
amen.
to that. But it's hard, right? You know, so many of us have opened our hearts and been hurt. So many of us have been vulnerable and then been made fun of, you know, and I think the more that each of us travel on these healing journeys, you know, we come back to that love and realize that most of us are made of that love, and that it's only when we let our wounds lead the way, or when we let the fear, the shame, the guilt, some of those negative emotions lead the way, that we're just kind of clouding things over. And that really, like, connecting heart to heart and leading with love is what's going to bring all the walls down and all the barriers down, and bring us like back together. So, thank you for saying that. Is there anything going on at Element Yoga? Anything going on in your world you want to share with everyone before we go, to let them know how to reach you, what's going on in your world, all that good stuff?
Um, we have some exciting things coming up at Element. We're doing a Shake Rising and yoga blended retreat in my favorite city, Cartagena, Colombia. I've gone like I lose count, like maybe 7 times now. It's my like one of my favorite destinations to go to because it's such a great value and it's best from December through March. So I love to escape the Atlanta winter by going over there. So it's going to be a retreat full of yoga, shake rising, sisterhood, culture, food, shopping, peace, pool time, beach time, whatever you need. Like you can find it there. We're staying in a beautiful villa, in this really like policed walled area that's UNESCO protected center. It's called like the Old Town, and so
I
we're
see. I saw the
staying.
pictures. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
Also,
thank you.
I love Cartagena.
Yes, come. I want everyone to be there. It's gonna be so much fun. So that's exciting for retreat stuff coming up. We also have some workshops coming up. Arm David's doing a arm balance workshop, and then we might be getting some special things in for January, like intention setting. So check out our calendar, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to those things. Oh, and I'm still toying with it, but I might be starting a women's group called The Well, and it's really like I'm trying to find a way to create an unstructured women's group where like instead of like where we just come together and our experience together and witnessing each other, but like it doesn't have to follow like, oh, we're going to talk about this and that today, like where we can just come and bring what we have, but also there is structure in a way that we're not just all sitting there and so it's going to be called The Well. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I'm thinking possibly February, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah.
Yay! Oh, I love it. Thank you for being here with us, Parisa. If you have enjoyed this conversation, please like, rate, subscribe, review, share, flip the script with Vic with your friends and family so that we can have even more honest conversations with real women. Thank you for being here. Be good to one another. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Mwah.